Hello there. How are you doing? Harlequin here, and I've got another Dawn of War 2 Retribution 1 versus 1 game for you today with a bunch of really skilled players. So this is going to be Imperial Guard versus the Tyranid, and this rainy, dark, inhospitable map is the Legis High Stratum 1 versus 1 map, and it's pretty cool. So we'll take a quick look at that map, and then we'll go ahead and get this started here. So as you can see, the map appears to be on top of some sort of a large fortress or city or that sort of thing, very Imperial Guard looking, and if you look at the victory points, as usual, we've got kind of a spread of 3 of them moving diagonally across the map. The right-hand side one closer to the northern player, the left-hand side one closer to the southern player, and the middle one is definitely very exposed in a bunch of different ways here. So the interesting features of this map are basically in front of each base there is a single power node, and that's pretty much it. Other than that, the rest of the resources of this map are kind of clustered around the left and the right victory points. So each victory point has but 2 requisition points in a single power node. So you only have those 3 points on the right, 3 points on the left, and then the 1 power node that you get for the start. So likely we're going to be seeing a lot of players having pretty reasonable control over one side of the map or the other, and then kind of fighting over this central area here. So let's go ahead and get this game started. On the southern side of the map with a beautiful, fancy looking purple and green paint job here, we have NareYa playing as the Lichtor Alpha for the Tyranids today, and I just love the way that guy looks. Pretty cool there. And on the northern side of this map here, as the red player, we have Duck playing the Commisar Lord for the Imperial Guard, and this guy is a real brutal looking hero here. We'll get to see a little bit of him there. Right off the bat, we got a little bit of skirmishing happening in the middle. This is a very close map here. Duck, by the way, goes by the name Pega on the forums. You've probably heard of him. I've definitely seen him on some live streams and whatnot. Hell, I've seen all of these guys. They're all great. So, let's take a look around. You'll notice that it looks like Duck went ahead and got his Guardsman infantry squad first. No sign of a sentinel or anything like that. And these Guardsmen right away are just going to go ahead and set up this multi-laser turret here right in the center. So clearly he knows the lay of the land and wants to make sure he's got control of this area here. Note, by the way, he also grabbed his power node right away and started upgrading it, and exactly the same thing going on for NareYa right now. Here we can see this Lichtor Alpha has been infiltrated. He is, of course, a sneaky, stealthy kind of hero. And there he goes right away, popping up behind the multi-laser turret, and the Commisar Lord right on the ball there, setting up his refractor field there, which is like a little force shield that uses his mana. Just not going to take any of that, knocking back that Lichtor Alpha, chasing him away before he goes back about his business, capping this central point here. Over here on the left, we can see that it looks like the first Termagant brood that was made. By the way, there are 2 Termagant broods out there right now. Just getting a little bit of a skirmish here with this Guardsman infantry squad, and they're just kind of doing their thing there. It looks like the Guardsmen were right away upgraded with a Sergeant. That is pretty much what you always want to do. It gives them, puts them up to 9 units as well. So really useful thing to do right off the bat here. This Lichtor Alpha will not give up on that laser turret, though. He apparently really wants to claw away at that thing, but he is going to have to retreat, and now taking quite a lot of damage in trying to do that. It's just not going to happen. The Guardsman infantry having too easy of a time repairing it and whatnot. So here we can see the double squad of Termagants out there right now. One of them at least has the Toxin Sacks upgraded, and perhaps both of them do. Yes, it looks like they both do. The Guardsmen taking a little bit of casualties there and going to have to leave. And for the time being, it looks like kind of surprisingly here that the Tyranids have managed to capture both the left and the right-hand sides of the map pretty soundly here. I'm guessing that has most to do with the fact that the Guardsmen, there's only these 2 squads out there right now for Duck. So Duck, you can see these guys are poisoned up a little bit right now, just kind of firing back and forth. Both of these units rather brittle, but the Guardsmen with the extra Sergeant in there right now are doing pretty well against these guys. We'll see them getting in cover right now. Oh, getting crippling poison, taking quite a lot of focus fire damage. These Termagant broods, by the way, do fire these little flesh borer beetle guns, basically. They're actually firing little symbiotic organisms that burrow into you and eat your nervous system and things like that. So these Guardsmen just going to have to get the heck on out of the middle here. Again, more towards the center, you can see that these Guardsmen are busy repairing away at this. And it looks like he just went ahead and just popped right out of camouflage, ripping away at these guys. Trying to do a little bit of damage here and making room for the Hormagants to come charging on in. They are just ripping apart these Guardsmen. The Guardsmen, unfortunately, caught a little bit off guard. They're trying to reposition a bit too much. Oh, and the Flesh Hook's ripping away at that last guy there. And here comes in the Catachan Devils right on time with Old Reliable, that grenade burst that they have. Blowing away the rest of these Hormagants, kind of wounding them pretty badly here. But it doesn't matter, the Lichtor Alpha is fighting away voraciously. Over on the left-hand side, you can see the Termagants are continuing to have a prolonged firefight with the Guardsmen right up there. Guardsmen have got some pretty nice cover, though. They are getting extremely wounded, though. That's not looking good. And looks like, ouch, the Lichtor Alpha gets knocked out in the center of the map. That's not good at all. Notice how healthy this Commisar Lord is. He's having no trouble today dealing with all of these pesky, pesky Tyranid infestations. Once again, the old reliable grenade blast going off there, doing a lot of damage to the retreating Termagant brood. And remember, by the way, again, if you're new to this game, which many people are, retreating units do take increased damage from close combat and from explosives like grenades. Over on the left-hand side, we have the Guardsman Infantry Squad just kind of capping away at this point. And for the time being, not too much else. Duck basically just going for 2 Guardsmen and Catachan Devils and trying to hold on to this center using a multi-laser turret. So he definitely has sort of a 2 victory point endgame in mind here. Looks like the Commisar is upgrading his power sword right now, which gives him a charge ability. We'll see a little bit more of that later, I'm sure. And the first Ravener Brood is out here right now, instantly being upgraded to the Devourer weapon, which basically turns it from a melee unit into a ranged unit. The Devourer, again, a type of Tyranid unit that type of Tyranid weapon that basically involves beetles living inside of them and firing out of their mouths and things like that. So a lot of little fighting going on here. Looks like a second generator going up right on top of that. And here comes the flank. Now notice, by the way, I really do appreciate the fact that NareYa refuses to attack this head on. He wants to always flank this this multi-laser turret. He knows its field of fire. And there, once again, the grenade burst from those Catachan Devils there, doing a lot of damage. And here comes our beloved Commisar charging on in here, swinging wildly with his power sword. I haven't seen him activate his power shield yet or anything like that, but he's just hacking and slashing away at all of these little Termagants right now. Really, really one tough bastard there. He is just doing a lot of damage. And this entire time, by the way, the Catachan Devils and the Guardsmen have just been firing away from relatively good cover and repairing this multi-laser turret. So that looks like a resounding victory right now for the Imperial Guard. The Termagants and the Hormagants just all kind of having to run home with their sticky chitinous tails between their legs. So, left-hand side of the map here, we do have, it looks like a triple cap going on right now for our Imperial Guard today. So, the points are definitely going to be rapidly falling here for NareYa, unless he takes care of that anytime soon. The Lichtor Alpha is moving on up, taking care of this victory point, more towards the center. Looks like the Imperial Guard, for the time being, are just happy sitting out here and taking control of the map. Triple power generators up for both players. That's what you'd expect at this point in the game, for sure. And the Hormagants, not even really fully resupplied yet, but they do have the adrenal gland upgrade, making them jumpy and more, they attack faster, all that sort of stuff. They're going to be capping away at this victory point here on the right-hand side. So, let's take a look at the middle here. We have a nice little assault coming in. Both of these Termagants moving on in and just kind of firing away like crazy. But man, look at that grenade burst. Once again, just knocking all those gentlemen back. But I don't think they know when they've had enough. They're coming back in here for more. Ravener Brood perhaps going to burrow on in there. Maybe not. Looks like just kind of backing up, not wanting to get focus fired. This is really all the multi-laser turret and the Guardsman Infantry Squad just kind of firing away like crazy here. They're doing a ton of damage to each other right now. Ravener Brood getting focused down just a little bit here. These guys are definitely taking a lot of damage. The Guardsmen are going to have to get out of there pretty soon. And it looks like, oh, he popped a smoke grenade right on top of that position just to kind of help his units get out of there in time. You can see these 3 remaining Guardsmen very, very wounded. And with all of that happening, and by the way, notice that the Catachan Devils were upgraded to have a Demolitions Man, which gives them this little improvised explosive device. They can just kind of put that down on the ground, blow it up whenever they want. It is cloaked. So obviously he was guarding that flank that way. Meanwhile, over here on the right, we've got the Catachan Devils and the Commisar Lord capping away at this victory point. And more towards the left, it looks like the Lichtor Alpha just kind of ambushing these guardsmen who are just kind of trying to take care of stuff on the left-hand side. Seeing the little bit of lifesteal there means that the Lichtor Alpha has upgraded his feeder tendrils, meaning he restores a bit of life every time he hits an opponent. As you can see, as he is chasing away these poor guardsmen, I really think they should probably just retreat. They're just going to lose more models if they try and run nice and slowly here. Another model goes down, taking lots of damage. Over here on the right-hand side, we can see a giant push once again by the Tyranids, crawling down this hallway of doom, trying their best to fight away this multi-laser turret. It looks like the Guardsmen were forced to retreat there, and this turret now taking a lot of damage. Here come the Catachan Devils, likely going to be throwing a bunch of grenades in everybody's face. Will they do it? What's going on here? Maybe just a shotgun blast. And it looks like they're just popping smoke on top of themselves instead. And during all of that time, the multi-laser turret was taken out. But here comes the Commisar. The Commisar charging on in and I believe he went ahead and activated, oh, I always want to call it Inspired Zeal, because it's exactly like the Company of Heroes ability right there. That is Loyal to the End, that's what it is. It's the Commisar ability. Oh man, we just saw another Commisar ability there too, where he shot one of his troops to inspire them. But Loyal to the End basically makes the troops stronger as they lose more units, exactly like Inspired Zeal for any Coho fans out there. Well, I don't know if it's exactly like it. I don't even know that anybody really knew how Inspired Zeal exactly worked in the first place. It looks like the Guardsman Infantry Squad taking a lot of damage here from the sneaky Spore Mines that were just coming in on the left-hand side of the field there. I believe those were summoned in, but perhaps he built those. I wasn't really paying attention because obviously I was talking about Inspired Zeal the whole time. So let's take a look around and see what's going on. A bunch of really beat-up Imperial Guard squads here for the time being. On the right-hand side, we do have the Guardsmen just kind of moving out, holding onto this area. Not a bad idea. And the Commisar kind of deep in enemy lines right now. This guy is really tough. I've been very impressed with Commisar so far. Seems like a lot of people favor the Lord General, but I do like seeing Commisar play out there. Now, strong central presence here by NareYa. Lichtor Alpha capping that central victory point. Note, by the way, the score is still 2-0, so he does need to get on the ball in terms of capping some of this stuff. Bam! We just had a nice little explosion there. And it looks like these guys taking a little bit of damage, but they're not going to be put off too much by that because the Chimera is on the battlefield right now. So during all of that time, Duck, a.k.a. Pega, went ahead and just teched on up to Tier 2. By the way, NareYa teching up to Tier 2 as we speak. So this Chimera right now is in all of its glory because there is really no chance that there's anything too anti-vehicle out there right now for NareYa. So he's got to make good use of this Chimera as long as he can. Catachan Devils using that explosion, old reliable grenade burst once again, just to kind of scare away the rest of these little Termagants. Let's take a look. It looks like they're capping this central victory point right now. Very important to hold on to that stuff, and replacing the generators that were lost during that quick little gen bashing session there. Guardsmen on the right. Over here on the left, it looks like we have the Lichtor Alpha capping this victory point again, but it looks like that all throughout this game, NareYa has just been behind in terms of victory points. He just has not been able to cap them nearly as quickly, choosing instead to fight in mass with all of his troops instead of kind of spreading them out around the map here. But, you know, nothing wrong with that. We can see that it looks like the Ravener Brood just kind of unburrowed underneath all of these Guardsmen infantry, and now they are just running away, crippled, being focused by all these Termagants, and now turning their attention to these Catachan Devils, who are being forced to retreat as well. But unfortunately, none of this stuff can really take care of this Chimera. So really, NareYa right now needs a Venom Brood. Those guys can take care of vehicles pretty well, so hopefully we'll see him grab something along those lines. That's pretty much his quickest way out of this situation. And it looks like, just to make the vehicle disadvantage even bigger, he's got a Manticore coming out right now for Duck. So Duck going to be providing some artillery support there. We got a little bit of gen bashing going on right now, but the Commisar Lord, right as he was trying to charge on in there, was crippling poison. And it looks like they are going to get one generator and then probably have to retreat on out of there. And yes, that's exactly what's going on right now. But the Commisar Lord not being put off by that at all. Hacking and slashing away with his power sword. And the Chimera is just trying to cut all of these guys off, doing a little bit of extra damage there right at the end.